falls don't happen because of weakness. They happen because of delayed reaction. And here's the uncomfortable part. Most people over 60 never train this. They focus on strength, they try to improve balance, they stay active. And still, one unexpected moment is enough to change everything. Not because they weren't strong enough, but because they responded just a little too late. Think about this. Have you ever stumbled and thought, that was close? That moment where your foot didn't land exactly right, or you didn't react as fast as you expected? Now imagine that same situation, just a fraction of a second slower. That's the difference we're talking about. Not years, not drastic decline, just timing. And that tiny delay is one of the most overlooked risks when it comes to aging well, maintaining mobility, and protecting your independence. But here's what makes this powerful and why you'll want to stay until the end. This isn't about training harder. It's not about intense workouts or complicated routines. It's about understanding how your body actually responds and how to keep that system sharp, even as you age. Because once you see what's really behind loss of balance, you'll start approaching your health span in a completely different way. Most people assume falls are about weak muscles or poor balance. That sounds logical, right? But here's where things get interesting and a little uncomfortable. You can have decent strength after 50. You can even work on your balance regularly and still find yourself stumbling over something simple like a curb you didn't notice or a step you've walked 100 times before. That's because longevity isn't just about strength or stability. It's about how your body reacts in real time. Think about this for a second. You're walking, relaxed, maybe thinking about something else. Suddenly, your foot catches the edge of a step. In that exact moment, your body has a split second to respond. Not to think, react. And that reaction is what determines whether you recover or fall. That's where functional fitness becomes real life. Not in a gym, not in a controlled movement, but in the unexpected moments that define your independence and quality of life. Here's the part most people don't realize, and it changes how you see aging well. It's not the fall itself that's the problem. It's the delay before your body responds. That tiny gap between something went wrong and your body corrects it. And as subtle as it sounds, that gap tends to grow with age. Not dramatically, not in a scary way, but enough to matter when it counts. That's why so many people feel like falls just happen out of nowhere. And if that idea feels slightly unsettling, good. That means you're paying attention. Because once you understand that falls are less about balance and more about timing, you start to see health span differently. You stop asking, am I strong enough? And start asking, how well does my body respond? And that shift quietly changes everything. Because now the real question becomes, what exactly is this reaction process? And how does it actually work inside your body? Reaction time sounds technical, but in reality, it's something you use every single day without even noticing. It's simply how fast your brain and body respond to something unexpected. That's it. No complexity, no jargon, just a signal traveling from what you see to how your body moves. And when it comes to longevity, this simple process plays a much bigger role in your safety and independence than most people ever realize. Here's how it works, in a way that actually makes sense. You see something, maybe your foot slipping or an uneven surface. Your brain processes that information almost instantly and sends a signal down through your nervous system. Then your muscles respond, adjusting, stabilizing, correcting. Brain, signal, muscles. It's like a well-timed conversation between your senses and your body. And when that conversation flows smoothly, you stay upright, steady, and in control. But here's where things get interesting and a bit revealing. That entire process happens in fractions of a second. You don't have time to think, analyze, or plan. Your body either reacts in time or it doesn't. And that's why traditional exercise, while important for strength after 50, doesn't always translate perfectly into real-world situations. Because life doesn't give you a countdown, it gives you surprises. Now, if you pause and think about it, this changes how you see mobility and balance entirely. It's no longer just about holding a position or lifting a weight. It's about responsiveness. It's about how quickly your system can adapt when something unexpected happens. And once you start seeing your body this way, a new question naturally comes up. What happens to this system as we age, and why does it seem to slow down just enough to matter? As the years go by, the body doesn't suddenly fail. It adapts, it recalibrates, it becomes a little more selective. And that includes your reaction time. It doesn't disappear, it doesn't break, it just slows down slightly. And here's the key. Not enough for you to notice in daily routines, but just enough to matter when something unexpected happens. That's the subtle shift most people miss when thinking about healthy aging. Inside your body, the communication system, the one connecting your brain to your muscles, becomes a bit less efficient. Nerve signals may take a fraction longer to travel. Coordination between joints and muscles becomes a little less precise. It's like a message that still gets delivered, just not as instantly as before. And in most situations, that's perfectly fine. But when timing becomes critical, that tiny delay can make the difference between recovery and loss of balance. Now, here's something most people don't talk about, and it might surprise you. It's not just biology, it's also behavior. Over time, people naturally reduce exposure to unpredictable movement. Fewer quick turns, fewer reactive steps, fewer moments that challenge the system. Life becomes more controlled, more careful, which feels safe, but quietly reduces your body's ability to respond when something unexpected happens. This is where functional fitness and real-world movement start to drift apart. And if you've ever felt like your body is a bit slower than it used to be, you're not imagining it, but you're also not stuck with it. Because this system, even after 60, is still adaptable, still trainable, still responsive to the right kind of stimulus. The real question isn't whether it changes. It's whether you're giving your body a reason to stay sharp. And that leads to an important realization. If this system slows down, can strength alone compensate for it? You can be strong and still fall. At first, that sounds counterintuitive, almost unfair. After all, strength after 50 is something you've been told to focus on, and rightly so. It supports mobility, protects joints, and improves overall quality of life. But here's the nuance most people overlook. Strength gives you capacity, not timing. And in real-world situations, timing is often what saves you. Imagine someone who can squat, carry groceries, even walk daily without issues. On paper, they're doing everything right for healthy aging. But then one day, they trip on a slightly uneven surface. In that split second, their strength isn't the deciding factor. It's how quickly their body reacts, how fast they reposition their foot, engage their muscles, and stabilize themselves. Strength is the engine, but reaction time is the steering wheel. Here's where it gets even more interesting. And this is where many people plateau without realizing why. Traditional exercise tends to be predictable. Controlled movements, stable environments, known patterns. And while that's excellent for building strength and supporting longevity, it doesn't fully prepare your body for the unexpected. Life, as you've probably noticed, doesn't follow a workout script. It throws small surprises and expects quick responses. Now, this doesn't mean strength isn't important. It absolutely is. But if the goal is true independence, if the goal is aging well with confidence, then strength needs a partner. It needs responsiveness. Because the real world doesn't ask how strong you are, it asks how well you can adapt. And once you see that clearly, a new question naturally comes up. How do you actually train something that happens in fractions of a second? At this point, a lot of people start wondering, all right, this makes sense, but what do I actually do with it? And here's the good news. Training reaction time doesn't require intensity, long sessions, or anything extreme. In fact, the most effective approach for aging well is often the simplest. This is where functional fitness becomes practical. Small, intentional actions that improve how your body responds in real life. Let's start with something almost deceptively simple. The ball drop drill. You hold a small ball, like a tennis ball, and let it fall unexpectedly, trying to catch it as quickly as possible. Sounds easy, right? But here's what's happening behind the scenes. Your brain is processing visual input, sending a signal, and activating your muscles, all in real time. Just 2 to 3 minutes of this can gently stimulate your reaction system without stress on your joints or mobility. Now take it one step further with the step reaction drill. Stand in a safe space and randomly step forward, backward, or to the side, almost like responding to an imaginary cue. If you want to make it more engaging, you can have someone call directions, or even use a simple app with random prompts. This begins to connect balance, coordination, and responsiveness. It's not about speed, it's about awareness and control, which are key for maintaining independence. And then there's the visual cue drill, which brings everything together in a very practical way. Place a few objects on the floor, different colors for example, and assign each one a movement. When you look at a color, you respond accordingly. This might sound like a small game, but it's actually a light form of biohacking, training your brain-body connection in a safe, controlled way. And interestingly, this is the kind of simple, structured approach explored deeper in the longevity protocol, where small daily inputs create long-term improvements in health span and quality of life. But before going deeper into that, there's one important question left. How often should you actually be doing this for it to make a real difference? This is where most people either overcomplicate things or give up too soon. Because when it comes to longevity and healthy aging, there's a natural tendency to think, I need to do more. More time, more intensity, more effort. But in reality, especially after 60, the body responds better to consistency than to intensity. And reaction time is no different. It doesn't need to be pushed hard. It needs to be practiced often. In practical terms, we're talking about something very manageable, just 2 to 5 minutes per session, about 3 to 5 times per week. That's it. No long workouts, no fatigue, no recovery concerns. You can even integrate this into your day, before a walk, after brushing your teeth, or while watching TV. That's the beauty of functional fitness at this stage of life. It fits into your routine instead of disrupting it. Now here's something important to understand, and it often gets overlooked. The improvements won't feel dramatic at first. You won't suddenly feel faster overnight. Instead, what tends to improve is something more subtle, awareness. You start noticing your body responding a bit quicker. You feel slightly more stable when something unexpected happens. There's a quiet increase in confidence, and that confidence directly impacts your independence and quality of life. And if you stay consistent with this, without rushing, without forcing, it starts to compound. Just like strength after 50, just like mobility, just like any evidence-based health habit, small inputs repeated over time leading to meaningful changes in how you move and how you feel. Because in the end, this isn't about reacting like an athlete, it's about maintaining control in everyday life. And once you truly understand that, everything you've seen so far starts to connect in a very practical way. Now here's the real question. What are you going to do with this? Because understanding reaction time is one thing, but applying it is what actually protects your independence. This isn't about becoming faster, stronger, or more athletic. It's about staying in control of your body when life gets unpredictable. That moment when you trip, when you misstep, when something doesn't go as planned, that's where all of this matters. And the truth is, small, consistent actions can make a meaningful difference in your health span, your mobility, and your quality of life over time. So ask yourself honestly, are you only training strength, or are you also training how your body responds? Are you preparing for real life, or just rehearsing controlled movements? Because aging well isn't about avoiding challenges, it's about being ready for them. And once you start seeing your body this way, your entire approach to functional fitness begins to shift. If this changed how you think about balance and aging, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because this is just one piece of a much bigger picture. And if you want to go one step further, you need to understand how your daily habits, especially after meals, are quietly affecting your energy, stability, and long-term health. That's exactly why I made this video here. The 10-minute walk that helps control blood sugar spikes. Watch that next, because it connects directly to everything we talked about today. And remember, your goal isn't youth, it's independence.